Let's read The Princess and the Frog from Disney. Once upon a time in New Orleans, there lived two little girls named Tiana and Charlotte. Although they were good friends, the two girls were very different. Charlotte wanted to be a princess and believed in wishing with all her heart. But Tiana knew that wishing wasn't enough to make her dreams come true. She would need to work hard too. One night, Tiana and her father talked about the restaurant they would open together someday. Tiana pointed out a star in the evening sky. She wanted to wish for the restaurant on it. But her father reminded her that a wish wasn't enough. You've got to help it along with some hard work of your own, okay? The years passed and Tiana grew up. She still dreamed of opening her own restaurant someday, even though her father had passed away. She worked 2 jobs and saved every penny. One day, Charlotte and her father, Big Daddy, visited Tiana at work. Charlotte had exciting news to share. Did you hear the news? Prince Naveen of Mandonia is coming to New Orleans. Big Daddy invited the prince to our masquerade ball tonight. That day, Prince Naveen arrived with his valet, Lawrence. The prince was thrilled when a band followed him down the street. Listen, Lawrence, listen. Oh, it's jazz music. It was born here. An evil man named Dr. Facilier watched the young prince. He told Naveen and Lawrence that he could give them whatever they wished for. When the men shook hands with Facilier, he cast a spell over them. Dr. Facilier's evil spell turned Naveen into a frog. It also made Lawrence look like the prince as long as he wore a special talisman. Dr. Facilier wanted Lawrence to marry Charlotte for her money. Then Facilier would steal it, but Naveen hopped away, hoping to reverse the spell. That night at the ball, Charlotte danced with the prince. She didn't know how he was really Lawrence in disguise. Tiana was happy for her friend, but she wanted her dream to come true too. She went out on the balcony and made a wish on the evening star. When she opened her eyes, she saw a frog sitting beside her. Very funny. So what now? I reckon you want a kiss? Kissing would be nice, yes. Tiana screamed and ran back inside. The frog followed her. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Prince Naveen of Maldonia. The frog told Tiana she had to kiss him so he would turn back into human. He promised to grant her a wish as a reward. Tiana thought of her restaurant. Then she leaned down and kissed the frog. When Tiana opened her eyes, Naveen was still a frog. You don't look that much different. Then she saw her reflection in the mirror. The kiss had turned Tiana into a frog. Tiana and Naveen escaped from Charlotte's party on a bunch of balloons. They landed in the bayou. Naveen knew they would have to work together if they wanted to become human again. He made a deal with Tiana. Help me out of this swamp, and once I marry Charlotte, I shall get you your restaurant. Tiana agreed. The two frogs set off. Suddenly, a huge alligator appeared. Tiana and Naveen froze, but the alligator was friendly. His name was Louise, and he loved jazz music just like Naveen. Tiana smiled at Louise. Thank you kindly for not eating us, but we'd best be on our way. Naveen told Louise that he and Tiana were really humans. Louise knew how to help them. Mama Odie! She got magic and spells. The trio made their way down the bayou to find Mama Odie. Along the way, they ran into a firefly named Ray. He offered to help them find Mama Odie. Me and my relations will help you show you all the way. That night, Tiana decided to cook for her new friends. She told Naveen to mince some mushrooms for her gumbo, but he didn't know how. I'd never done anything like this before. Tiana showed him how it was done. Afterward, Luis played his trumpet, and Naveen taught Tiana how to dance. Tiana couldn't remember a time when she'd had so much fun. Suddenly, dark shadows appeared and grabbed Naveen. They had been sent by Dr. Facilier. Tiana, Louise, and Ray all tried to help Naveen, but the shadows were too strong. A blinding flash of light appeared, causing the shadows to vanish. Mama Odie had arrived. She and her pet snake, Juju, led the visitors to her home. She listened to Tiana explain why they'd come. Well, if y'all set on being human, there's only one way. Mama Odie showed the frogs that Charlotte and her father were getting ready for the Mardi Gras parade. Big Daddy was to be king. That meant Charlotte would be a princess. Mama Oni said if Naveen kissed Charlotte before midnight, he and Tiana would both be humans again. As the frogs headed back to New Orleans, Naveen realized he couldn't give Tiana what she needed, the money to buy her restaurant. He was in love with her, but he was broke. He'd hopped away sadly. Dr. Facilier was waiting for Naveen in the shadows. He captured the frog, but Ray followed them and set Naveen free. Just as Charlotte and the fake prince were about to kiss, Naveen jumped onto the float and grabbed the talisman. Without it, Lawrence turned back into himself. Dr. Facilier was furious. "Stop him!" The firefly quickly flew away with the talisman. Ray gave the talisman to Tiana. "You can't let Shadow Man get this, no matter what. Now run, girl, run!" Tiana hopped as fast as she could, but Dr. Facilier cornered her. Tiana smashed the talisman. The shadows surrounded Dr. Facilier, and soon there was nothing left of him but a black top hat. Tiana went to find Naveen. He agreed to marry Charlotte if she helped Tiana open a restaurant. But Tiana couldn't let that happen. "My dream wouldn't be complete without you in it. I love you, Naveen." They decided Charlotte would kiss Naveen to turn both frogs back into humans. But the clock struck midnight. It was too late. Tiana and Naveen were still frogs, but they had found true love. They went back to the bayou to get married. As they kissed, something magical began to happen. Naveen and Tiana turned back into humans. Naveen was amazed. "Once you became my wife, that made you a princess." "You just kissed yourself a princess," Tiana beamed with joy. At long last, Tiana and Naveen went back to New Orleans, where Tiana happily opened her restaurant, Tiana's Palace. Finally, Tiana had everything she'd ever dreamed of, and someone very special to share it with. She and her prince lived happily ever after. Thanks for listening. Like, share, and subscribe.